Hey guys, welcome to another video. iQuenix here, back at it again with another one. So you guys seem to like that car video I made about cheap fast cars you can buy, and there have been some people wenye wamekuwa kwa inbox wakiniambia wanataka a list of vintage cars they can get for cheap. So I decided to make the video like today that way. I've been compiling the list. With this list, I didn't want it to be like biased on like really old cars, because a car is considered vintage after imepitisha like 20 years hapo. Some sites say 15, but me, I'm relying on the 20 because I believe a car is like a 20-year-old car is a vintage car. So yeah, so I made this list to satisfy that car group that was nagging me about that. And yeah, so that is today's video. So as always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I make videos almost daily today. Kwanza July July, please hold on to your seat belts because July nimeipangia almost daily uploads. So yeah, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you're an OG subscriber, you know how we do it again. So yeah, roll that intro and then let's get to our list.
You should take it slow.
So the first car on my list, actually cars, there is like a small category, is the Corolla. Basically, Corollas have been in production since 1966, sporting many different variations. So you can see from 1966, those are a lot of cars that have been produced, and if you're looking for like a restoration project, I know like if you're coming to like hapo almost the E90 chassis, hapo unakuja a bit modern, so I would recommend chassis like the E10 all the way to the E90. Hapo those are really good vintage cars, and basically they are small carbureted engines, and they have that really good retro look, and yeah, parts are still available to some extent, and they are small, so unaweza weka engine mpya if you feel like, or you can restore the one that is there. Corollas have been reliable since the start, so okay, restore the engine that came with it, it would make a little bit more sense to me. So if you're going for a vintage vintage restoration look, yeah, so all the way down to the E90, E10 to E90, yeah, and yeah, so Corollas have been around, we all know that, and the good thing about cars that have been produced kwanzia kitambo and are still being produced now, you see there is a long lineage. So if you're looking for like an E10 to E90 chassis, I know of one that is being sold. So if una feel you're up for the challenge, inbox on Instagram to see if we can work out a deal to you can get your hands on one. Actually, it's a really nice chassis. You should consider inbox. You need a project car. Yeah. So the second car on my list would be a Peugeot, and basically the Peugeot 504. Okay, the Peugeot 504 is a mid-size front-engine rear-wheel drive automobile made by Peugeot from 1968 to 1983. Yeah, they came in many configurations. You have the 4-door, you have the convertible, you have the pickup, you have the wagon. So a lot of configurations were made of this particular model. And fun fact, they were produced in Kenya. Okay, they were produced all over the world. They were produced in many parts of the world, but in Kenya, particularly in Mombasa, they were still in production all the way down to 2004. From 1968 to 2004. Basically, this car, kila mtu all around the world were shutting down. We were still producing them at Mombasa. That's why they were so abundant, and bringing in the fact that they were used in the military stroke, police units. that's why they are so abundant. Kuna hizo ma XGK and stuff. Yeah, so these cars are really made tough, if you understand what I'm saying. The last time I featured this car on a video was the I'm not sure, I think the cheap cars video, and yeah, that time somebody commented that these cars are basically made out of vibranium, and I am pretty sure they are because nimeona Peugeot 504 imegonga a belter, and I was like, how, because the belter was like scrap, but the Peugeot 504 was like, whoa, something hata ikai imechapa accident. Yeah, but they were made tough. These cars were made to last, and that's why so many of them are still on the road. They're kind of picking up on the market because people are realizing like, unajua, they are becoming really good classics, and if you want a classic car, utaki yenye inakufa kila saa, and something that will last if you are willing to pour that money into it. So the Peugeot 504, really nice car. I really want one. If I ever get the chance, I'll buy. I'd advise you to do the same if you have that classic feel, if you love doing project cars, restoring, and as in, if you're that type of person, a Peugeot 504 is a classic. It's iconic, everybody knows it. And yeah, basically a well-rounded classic car. I've seen some. Another, I do know one that is being sold, but it's not the rear wheel drive type, it's the front wheel drive type. So if you feel like you're willing to embark on such a journey on a restoration, please me inbox, I send you pics of the same. So yeah, the next car on my list would be a Volkswagen and basically the Volkswagen Type I, informally known as the Beetle or the Ladybug. That's the word that is commonly known as. Okay, the Beetle Type I or the VW Beetle Type I is a rear wheel drive economy car developed by Volkswagen from 1938 all the way down to 2003. Imagine, I think 1938 to 2003, that's a lot of years producing one type of car. So yeah, the concept and idea were brought about by the Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, and yeah, basically the guy wanted cheap economy cars to be mass produced for the people. He had built new road networks all over Germany, so alikuwa anataka a car that will be affordable for the people. Basically they called it a people's car, and it basically became the people's car. That's the only thing I can say about Adolf that is kind of good. So yeah, so many units were produced and they were shipped all over the world. I was watching a documentary the other day, and an aged man was saying, like, back then, if you didn't have a Beetle, you're not so classy. If I may say, you didn't fit into some type of category. Basically, kuna time Beetles ilikuwa Benz za screen. So if you didn't have that, you didn't have class. So yeah, you can see like the transition from a classy car to a classic car. Well, so they are synonymous with restorers. People are doing crazy stuff to these cars. Wanna chop fenders, wanafanya rat rod, wanaweka bigger engines. I've seen like 2 in Kenya when you make Subaru engines in them, and I've seen so many cars being built. I have not seen. There are so many cars being built, and to see one that has been like accepted by people like the Beetle, it's a really. Anybody will tell you the Beetle is a good car. Anybody. If somebody hates on the Beetle, that person is he needs to go to the hospital and get checked up, especially from the neck up, because it's not fine. Yeah, and it's a really good car. You can pick one up for really cheap. A friend of mine akona mbili niko sijui Beetle ilikufanyia nini, but yeah, so good car. Unaweza either go either sides. You might want to restore it, urudishe to the old condition, maybe uipatie a new look, unalielewa, or a refreshed look. Ama you can go to the crazy side where you can just go as crazy as you want, do a bigger engine, bigger tires, new drivetrain, but basically on the same chassis. They are iconic cars and synonymous around every type of car guy. And I've never met somebody who said like, I don't want to own a Beetle. It's weird. So yeah, the Beetle. If you're in the market for one, I also know one that is being sold. So ni inbox, nikutumie pics. Tuone how you might be willing to embark on that type of journey. So the next car on my list would be a Nissan, or to be specific, the Datsun S20 pickup truck. Basically, kitambo Nissan was known as Datsun, but they transitioned to, from Datsun to Nissan, and I heard they poured a lot of money into that, but people still call them Datsuns these days. But people call them Nissan. You can imagine walking up to a GTR and say, it's a Datsun R35. So the S20, the 620 pickup truck is a mini pickup truck produced by Datsun. These days Nissan, from 1972 till 1979, a period of almost I think 8 years, 7 years. So basically it's a short period amount of time, but so many units were produced of this chassis, the car pickup. It's really known around Kenya. Kwanza shags huko, I know bado there are so many that are still on the road. So basically it's a front engine rear wheel drive pickup as always. With the bench seat, it has that bench seat. Hopefully I'll overlay a clip there. And they are resilient. They are small, resilient animals. These cars do not want to die. Yeah? I know a neighbor. I know of a neighbor who owned one since I was young, and it's still on the road. And I'm like, how is that even possible? Squeezy watu wananunua kabelta or something, just something inakufa within 2 years. Unashindo how? A good staple, a good example of why people say cars are not being made the same way. So yeah, you can pick up one for a little bit cheap, but unazoga zimekuwa zikifanya kazi, so zinaweza kuwa banged up, so kuwa ready kuwa na some body work kuchomelea here and there, but unajua hiyo lazima, if you're restoring a car lazima ujue some body work iko, because it's over 20-year-old car. So yeah, and a good number might be grounded, so as I said, pick them up for cheap. And this is another car that is synonymous around restorers, because people lower them on springs, people put like bigger tires on them, go for that stance looks, LEDs, really nice build. And some always want to go the other route of like wanataka kurudisha vile gari ilikuwa, of which we do appreciate. I appreciate them because yeah. So yeah, that's the fourth car on my list, the Datsun 620 pickup. So the next type of car on my list would be another Volkswagen, and the Volkswagen Type II, commonly known as the Kombi. It came from the word combination motor vehicle, because it was used for a lot of different stuff, military, and other stuff. It's also known as the microbus. So it's a forward controlling light commercial vehicle introduced by Volkswagen in 1980. So over like 30 years ago, I guess. Around 30 years ago. 40 years ago. That's a 40-year-old car. Yeah, and basically it's the Type 2 kind of chassis, Type 1 type chassis, which is the VW Beetle, modified to fit like a microbus body. So yeah, still a rear engine rear wheel drive car. Engine zao ziko nyuma, if you know these cars, pali engine iko, you have to open. And it came with many variations. Kuna ile sliding doors, kuna one that is cut like a pickup. I know you've seen one with a bed liner and stuff. and there is the cargo variant which ilikuja tu like a big truck bed. Can I say a truck bed or a bed truck? And yeah, there's so many variations. Kuna zenye zilikuwa kwa military and which were used for a lot of stuff, different type of stuff, if I might say. And basically they are reliable in that way because they are still using the Type 1 motor, which was air cooled, so haihitaji kuweka maji on this engine. And yeah, resilient little cars. Okay, resilient cars with resilient engines. So I know they're synonymous around Kenya because a good number of them were shipped to this country. I can't remember the number, but I looked it up. A good number. In Kenya we can get cars in different ways. Unaweza import wewe mwenyewe, you can get it from a dealer. You can get it from a dealer, another country and stuff. Yeah, so people are really starting to pick these cars up, and imefanya ka price kasonge juu kidogo because kuna ka demand kadogo because people are really pouring money into this chassis. Wanaeka custom wheels, they're lowering the car, doing some really nice stuff kwanza. And when I see somebody doing that, I really like it because I believe there is this one Liona Sunset GT, and there is another one Liona kwa Petrol Expisamit. If I get the clip, I will input it. And yeah, and when I see one of these cars on the road, it really ina spark that interest of wanting to own one and build. Pia mini feel how it feels to own like that type of chassis. So the VW Kombi, a good car. It's a classic, over 40 years old, around 40 years old, yeah. And basically a really old car but a really nice classic, yeah. And I might say again, kama unataka moja, I know one that is being sold, but not for cheap, so because imerestoriwa, so you're not starting like from the ground up, you're starting with something that is moving. Yeah, so if you want one, please ni inbox, ni kusend pics, and yeah, tuone kama tunaweza work out a deal. So the sixth car on my list would be a Volvo. Okay, the Volvo 200 series, concentrating on the 240 and the 260 series, hizo chassis mbili. And basically the Volvo 200 series is a range of mid-size cars produced by Swedish manufacturer Volvo from 1974 to 1993. So these cars were produced for a long time, and with more than 2.8 million units being sold. Ushaona 2.8 vile inakaa. So imagine 2.8, 1, 2, 3 hadi 2.8 being sold all over the world. That's a big number, if for cars. And with these cars, these cars being mass produced like hivyo, and so many being sold, a lot of them made into Kenya. And unajua madiehards wako nazo, and some wamezifanyia swaps, of which change engine. Some diehards wamebakisha ile engine yenye ilikuwa because it was a really capable engine, and plus it had that technology where, as in unajua when you get into an accident, the engine, some accident like a head-on accident, the engine tends to like come into the into the cabin. So hiyo ilikuwa imejengwa in such a way that the engine slides down, so it doesn't like harm you. And yeah, Volvo is another car. It's similar. It's when I see a Volvo and I see a Peugeot, I see like two gladiators. Vitu zilijengwa to not die. Trust me, you have a bigger chance of kugongwa na meteorite than that car rotting and dying, because as in cars like are over like 30 years old that is still running. It just fascinates me. And yeah, and they came in many variants, the 240 DLs, the GLs, Nini, so many variants, so many here. And kuna zingine zilikuja with a different type of engine. I can't remember the model, but if I get it while I'm editing, I'll input it. Nikikosa itabidi me look up, but they came in like over six variants. So, and this is another car. I have a friend who's selling it for cheap, and when I say cheap, I mean very cheap, as in really really cheap, as in you should call me, as in inbox you know your gari. And yeah, it's in really good condition. Ni vile sina pesa ningeibuy, and staki ma obligations zingine zenye zitanilemea. But if you really want a Volvo i240 GL, ni GL ama GL, yeah, that is in really mint condition, please inbox me on Instagram. Let's work out a deal for really really cheap, trust me. So the next car on my list, the next car on my list would be a Land Rover. Basically the Land Rover Defender, which was originally known as the Land Rover 90 and the 110. The Land Rover is a British four-wheel drive off-road car developed by Land Rover in the 1980s from the original Land Rover series. Unajua Land Rover Defender ilitoka kwa Land Rover series, so unajua walichukua chassis and then they modified it into the Defender. So yeah, a lot of them were used into the military because unajua a lot of military bases wanted like a capable off-road vehicle, so a lot of them were used for military use, in and including in Kenya, kwa sababu you know cops and defenders are like this kitambo. And with this car, it's a classic car, you know, 1980, almost 40 years. And with that being said, gari nyingi zilikuja Kenya through mostly the military, and most of them these days zinauza through auction, so you can get one for kind of cheap. And most of them, because of scarcity of parts and stuff, they are nyingi ziko juu ya mawe, to say the truth, nyingi ziko juu ya mawe, and they are grounded, if you understand what I'm saying. So with that, yeah, it makes a good classic car. People are really pouring cash into this vehicle. Basically watu wanachukua hizo Defenders at those days, wanaeka LED lights, bigger tires, shinier stuff, good paint and all that, and which zinaka, I'll put a clip of a facelift and I'll show you what I mean about the facelift. And basically they make an old car look new because that chassis was really durable. It was literally made of vibranium, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so yeah, really good classic car, classic pickup. If you're into the pickup scene, watu wangu wa pickup squad mewacha. So yeah, if you're into the pickup scene, please, if you get a Land Rover and you're willing to commit, because this car needs commitment and a tender heart, kwa sababu unaweza chukua gari kupatia stress ya miaka 10. I know of a friend who amepitia through a lot. Kivo. But yeah, when you arrange some things, they do work fine, and they're basically fun cars. Yeah. So another car that if we feel like unaweza own, I know one that is being sold, but the pickup version of the 110, the petrol version. And if you feel like unaweza nunua, please ni inbox pale Instagram and let's see if you can work out a deal. But because unajua the influx of the facelift and the stuff, watu wameanza kuziuza for very expensive, even though they are grounded. But you know, if you want one, ni inbox, let's see if you can work out a deal. So the Land Rover pickup or the Land Rover Defender, I don't know, 90, 110. Basically hizo two. So that is the 7th car on the list. So the 9th car on my list, actually the 8th car. Nini mbaya? So the 8th car on my list would be Toyota Starlet. When I say Toyota Starlets, nasema zile first generation. And to fit the ones that I fit in this list, ni zile za the 60s and the 70s series, which now are classics because because they are kind of old. So yeah, the Toyota Starlets are a small subcompact car made by Toyota from 1973 to 1999. So you can see like yo margin ni kubwa sana for a particular model. Currently zimekuwa discontinued, but I believe like I think Suzuki bought the name. Is it Suzuki or some other company bought that name? They have plans with it. And yeah, they're synonymous around Kenya. Many people are buying them, doing some crazy stuff to them. And especially the 70 series, there is a trim that came with a turbo, a small turbo, eco turbo, but that makes the car a little bit, fun. A turbo 5-speed gearbox, really fun cars have been in one. And they basically make a really good classic car. Well, most people these days prefer buying them and doing a crazy build on them. And some people they still are going with the route as in they restore them. But when they restore them with the car, with their taste, and with the better interiors, better tires, better rims, And and if you're looking for like a sub compact car with 2 doors, something small for you can build on a really good budget, the 70 series is really nice. Even the 60 series, but the 70 series was a little bit better because parts are available, because they are a little bit more recent. So yeah, I would like to say the Glanza is a classic, but sitaki kusema because the Glanza is on another level. It's a sports trim of its own. So yeah, the Toyota Starlet 60 and 70 series, I don't think I know of one being sold, but najua nikitafuta naweza pata. So if you feel like you want one, naweza kutafutia, because I have a friend who has a friend maybe who wants one. So in inbox on Instagram, that's why I tell you guys. By the way, these cars that I get like for really cheap, I usually post them on Instagram. So you follow at Equinix, follow at Equinix. I post updates there almost every one day. That's Jakosa. But July I'm planning to do the whole uploading schedule stuff. So yeah, it will work. So follow on Equinix to get updates. Okay, then 9th on my list would be a Volkswagen. To be precise, the Volkswagen Golf. Sijui kwa nini Volkswagen zimejaa kwa hii list, but they've been making cars for so long, so they have to have a big share on the classic cars. So the Volkswagen Golf is a compact car produced by German automaker manufacturer Volkswagen, obviously, since 1974. These cars have been in production since 1974, way before I was born. That's a long time. Yeah, it's almost like 50 years. Because almost like 50 years plus. So spanning over 8 generations currently, because with the Golf there is the Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 5, Mark 6, Mark 7, Mark 8, which is the current one that we have right now. And they have other variants, but with the Golf, when I say mark, I mean make, or in other countries they call them A1, A2, A3, A4, all the way to A8. Yeah, so if I was looking for like a Golf to build like a classic car, which is that classic car look, I'd go for the Mark 1 all the way to the Mark 3. Ukifika hapo Mark 4, classic kind of look inaanza kupotea, because unajua a little bit more technologies into the system, even though if you're going for a classic Golf, I'd go for the Mark 1, Mark 2 or Mark 3. Hiyo tu ndo naweza sema. But you can obviously unaweza span kiasi ufike hata Mark 5, but it won't be such classic, because there is this notion that people with classic cars must have carburetors and all stuff, which is not. But if I was going for a build, I would definitely go for the Mark 1 to Mark 3. And with this, with cars being produced all the way all from 1974, man, there is like, let's say, an influx of the model into countries. So it's easy to pick a Mark 2 for cheap, or a Mark 3. Mark 1 inaweza kuwa expensive kiasi, because when classic car they get more expensive when they get older. In this modern era, people are doing swaps with the newer engines, because it's the same platform, so you can take like an engine from a Mark 5 VV unaweka kwa Mark 3. You can share, but I've seen some people do some crazy stuff. So good cars all around. Kitambo zilikuwa very reliable. I said these days they're not reliable, but the Golf Mark 1 to Mark 3. You can wejirudia hapo. But hey, you understand what I'm saying. I'll overlay clips.
Hey guys, I am going to show you my new whip. Look at my new car. Yeah. Look at my new car. You can't touch it. I can touch it. I think I can touch it. You can.